Have you ever wondered why some dreams follow you, even into the moments when you no longer believe in them? Why they sit quietly in the corners of your mind, waiting for you to return, even after you've convinced yourself they are impossible? There is a reason they don't disappear, and it's not weakness. It's not delusion. It's not stubborn hope. It's something deeper, something that speaks to the part of you that hasn't been destroyed by disappointment or exhaustion, something that still remembers who you were before life became heavy. And if you stay with me, if you commit to hearing this fully, you will walk away with the clarity you've been searching for. Not the kind that gives you comfort, but the kind that reignites the fire you thought you'd lost. Your dream is still alive for a reason, and by the end of this message, you will understand exactly why it refuses to die. But let's begin with you, your life, your pressure, your quiet battles. I want you to imagine a moment you've lived before. Maybe you were alone in your room. Maybe you were sitting in a car late at night, staring at the steering wheel, feeling the weight of everything you've tried and failed at. Maybe you were smiling around people, pretending everything was fine because you didn't want to burden anyone with the truth that you were tired, really tired. The type of tired that isn't fixed by sleep because it isn't your body that's exhausted, it's your hope. You're tired of trying so hard and seeing so little progress, tired of believing only to be disappointed again, tired of sacrificing while everyone else seems to move ahead with half the effort, tired of being strong because that's the role you were forced to play. You become so used to hiding the cracks that you almost forgot they were there. But deep down, you know exactly how fragile you've become. And you probably wondered, why does this dream still cling to me? Why hasn't it died already? Why does it appear in my thoughts even when I push it away? Because it's yours. It's tied to your identity, your purpose, your essence. And purpose does not disappear just because the path is hard. Purpose does not vanish just because you have moments of doubt. Purpose doesn't leave just because you think you're not ready. When a dream is meant for you, it becomes part of your internal blueprint woven into the way your heart beats, the way your mind wanders, the way your spirit refuses to settle for less. But life does its best to bury that dream. And you know that better than anyone. You felt the world try to convince you that settling is safer. You felt people underestimate you. You felt failure sit on your chest until you could barely breathe. You watched years pass and wondered if you wasted your time. But no matter how heavy things became, something inside you whispered, not yet, not like this, there's more. That whisper matters. It's small, but it's powerful. It's the part of you that knows even when you're hurting, that giving up would break you more than continuing ever could. It's the part of you that remembers your potential before fear rewrote your story. That whisper is the reason you're here, listening, searching for something to reconnect you with the version of yourself you've neglected. And you deserve to be reconnected. You deserve to feel capable again. You deserve to feel passionate again. You deserve to wake up with something meaningful pulling you forward. Life may have knocked you down, but you're still here. That means the story isn't finished. Let's talk about those late night thoughts, the ones that come when the world is quiet and your distractions fade. Those thoughts reveal truths you hide during the day. They show you the life you wish you had, the risks you wish you'd taken, the ambition you still feel tugging at your soul. That is not imagination. That is not fantasy. That is you, without filters, without doubt, without fear. That is you meeting yourself. But the problem isn't the dream. The problem is everything you've carried that convinced you the dream isn't worth the fight. Fear of failure, memories of past mistakes, pressure from people who don't understand your vision, and the growing belief that maybe it's too late. You've convinced yourself that failure is a sign to stop, when in reality, failure is feedback. You've convinced yourself that obstacles are warnings, when they're actually invitations to grow. You've convinced yourself that you aren't ready, when in truth, readiness isn't something you wait for, it's something you build moment by moment. Think about how many times you've come close to giving up, how many times you whispered to yourself, maybe this isn't for me. How many times you chosen the safe option because you were afraid of disappointing yourself again. The fear of failure has become so familiar that it feels like part of your identity, but it isn't. It never was. It's simply a shadow that formed because your dream is bigger than your current reality. You're not afraid of the dream failing. You're afraid of not becoming the person the dream requires. Let that sink in. You're not afraid of the dream. You're afraid of the transformation, but transformation is the very thing you're craving. You want to feel powerful, you want to feel alive, you want to feel like you are becoming someone your younger self would admire, and you can if you stop running from the growth that feels uncomfortable. You see, your dream has never judged your past. It has never punished you for being inconsistent or scared or imperfect. Dreams don't die from delays, they die from neglect. And even then, they never truly disappear. They turn into unrest, they turn into frustration, they turn into that nagging emptiness you feel when you know you were meant for more but you've been playing small. You've outgrown your excuses, you've outgrown your fear, you've outgrown the version of you that accepted less because you didn't think you deserved better. The restlessness you feel in your soul is not anxiety, it's potential trying to break free. But to understand why your dream still clings to you, you must understand something critical about human nature. The mind remembers what the heart refuses to release. And your heart remembers every moment you felt alive chasing what mattered to you. Every moment you believed even just a little. Every moment you pictured a version of yourself standing in the life you want. You may have tried to silence it, but the memory remains it. And the memory pulls you forward even when you don't notice. Why does your dream refuse to die? Because deep down, you know you're capable of more than your current situation reflects. You know you haven't tapped into your full ability. You know your potential is larger than your limits. You know you haven't given your best effort, not truly, not consistently, not without fear. And your dream refuses to die because it is waiting for you to rise to the version of yourself that you've avoided becoming. You may feel broken, but you're not defeated. You may feel lost, but you're not done. You may feel exhausted, but exhaustion means you've been fighting. And fighters don't quit, they pause, they rest, they cry, they even crawl, but they don't quit. Take a moment and imagine what your life would look like if you stopped letting fear dictate your choices. Imagine waking up with clarity instead of confusion. Imagine feeling excited instead of drained. Imagine looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing someone who didn't give up, not because things were easy, but because they were worth it. That version of you is not far away. It's not a fantasy. It is waiting behind one decision, the decision to try again, not half heartedly, not fearfully, not with one foot in and one foot out, but fully, deeply, with everything you have left. You're not empty. You're not past your prime. You're not too late. You're overwhelmed because you're carrying dreams that were never meant to be abandoned. And the moment you choose to pick them up again, you will feel something you haven't felt in a long time: alignment. Not motivation, alignment. Alignment happens when your actions finally match your potential. Alignment makes effort feel meaningful. Alignment makes discipline feel natural. Alignment makes pain feel like progress. And alignment is the reason your dream refuses to fade. It's calling you back to yourself. But here's something most people never admit: the world benefits from you giving up. When you settle, the world becomes quieter, less threatened, less disrupted, less challenged. But you were never meant to blend in. You were meant to shake things, elevate things, change things. Your existence is a disruption to complacency. And that's exactly why your dream clings to you, because settling will never satisfy you, no matter how much you try to force it. Think of all the times you felt a spark, an idea, a vision, a moment of inspiration that made you feel alive. Those sparks weren't accidents, they were reminders. They were glimpses into the life you could build. They were invitations to stop living small. And here's the truth that might hurt: the life you want is already waiting for you, but you're delaying it because you're afraid of failing publicly, afraid of being misunderstood, afraid of making the wrong choice, afraid of discovering your limits. But what if your limits are far beyond what you imagine? What if the fear you feel is proof that the next step matters? Stop letting the fear of what if silence the possibility of what could be. You are not the same person you were when you first dreamed about this. You've grown, you've survived things that should have broken you. You've endured pain that would have crushed someone else. Your dream refuses to die because it was never meant to.